Hi everyone, today we're going to go through a long run of X-Men. The title started in 1963. The first issue we have is number 1. It's got a rip right there. I've seen some copies that were graded 2.5, even 2.0. I thought this looked maybe a little bit better. I always thought this one was like 1.8 or 2.0. Number 2, First Vanisher. He appeared in the Deadpool 2 movie and it didn't end very well for him. Number 3. Four, Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. Number 5, early Silver Age name or appearance. I believe this is the first appearance of the Savage Land. This one was first Juggernaut, but it's pretty rough shape there. More Sentinels. I don't have these in top loaders. So this one, it's got all this red. We're going to see this cover again later during the reprint era. But I never really liked this cover, and I suspect there was something going on at Marvel. Maybe they were falling behind on coloring, and they chose just to do a bunch of red covers, and especially in the X-Men titles, a bunch of red covers, so I don't think it's necessarily coincidence. The other thing I think is maybe they got a good deal on red ink or something, maybe because Daredevil was a title and that was bi-monthly. I think X-Men was bi-monthly too. Here's another one, red background, maybe because of the color of the costumes, yellow and blue, and maybe red was a good choice. I don't know why they wouldn't color it blue, maybe because it, blue on blue and the costumes might not look so great. This one's pretty beat up. There's another one with the red. Another one with the red background. I could choose any other color, maybe even orange or some other color. There's another one. And this one, I can't see the reason why this needs to be all red. I think I got them out of order here. 42, 41. So I got these out of order a little bit. So what do I need to do? I need to go back I'll show these again. So we left off with this one. And here's a Spider-Man appearance. The early Spider-Man appearances generally are, minor keys at least. This one, I've also had a copy from my childhood, so in another video I'll post some of the other duplicates I have of these comic books. X-Men run. And here's Frankenstein. I don't know if this is the same Frankenstein that appeared in the Silver Surfer, but it's I don't believe it's the same Frankenstein as the Frankenstein series from the 70s. So we'll go back to this all red one. 2, 3. Four. No, this is actually purple. I'm surprised this wasn't red. At least I used it in the text there. This is a nice Steranko cover. And then I have this one. This is actually a nice cover. I usually don't care too much for the monocolored covers, but this one is yellow and green. This one has actually it has some appeal to it, and you can actually see the artwork on the characters, whereas that X-Men number 17, you can barely tell the characters details. Jim Steranko. And the 53 and 54 are Smith, I believe. Smith was influenced by Kirby. You can tell this kind of figure. It doesn't look like one of his Smith's best work. But he's a great artist today. Yeah, we start getting into Neil Adams here. Even he couldn't save the title with his great artwork. So most of the time Neil Adams is known for his Green Lantern run and his Batman, but it seems like his X-Men don't get the same accolades. And number 66 is the last in the series with new material, and then they're going to do reprints until 93, and then Giant Size X-Men will be the next new one, followed by 94. Okay, for these reprint issues, I have those. I should have all of them with covers, but I can't find a couple of them. This is 68. I should have one with a cover. And remember when we looked at X-Men number 17 when everything was all red? I think this cover looks a lot better with the color filled in. So the only reason I can think that they colored it in is maybe this is the way it was really meant to be. And maybe, you know, that kind of leads me back to my theory that they didn't have the time to color 17. And you can actually see the details on their faces, whereas on 17 it was much more difficult to see the details. Number 71 I have somewhere in another box. I know I purchased it. It's a reprint of, I can't recall which one it is. It's the one I think with two panels on the cover. But this is number 72. I do have another copy of this with a full cover. Good. 72 was the last giant size one. Even with these reprints, they drew new covers for them. Whereas on the giant size ones that we saw earlier, they did not have new covers. This is the reprint of, I believe, that number 35. This should be the reprint of the number 38. And this is one that reprints the one where Frankenstein had appeared. And number 93 ends the era of the old X-Men. 2 months later, see, this is April and May of May of 73. They released Giant Size X-Men, and I believe 2 months later they released number 94. So it's about 3 months between number 93 and number 94. Okay, we're getting into the new era of the X-Men. Giant Size number 2 is actually, I believe, a reprint. And this is the first appearance of the new team. Issue 98 and 99 have a special place in my childhood. Not these particular copies, but I have some other copies. When I go through my other X-Men and find the doubles, I'll talk more about those. here's a big key Phoenix. (102) still the Dave Cockrum era. First appearance of Vindicator. Later, he becomes Guardian. This cover shows Wolverine is not a match for Magneto. I think this the John Byrne era started back here, right? So the John Byrne era started. Was it 112? The cover of the 112. That's not even a John Byrne cover. This is a Dave Cockrum, John Byrne cover here. That's Perez. I did look at Perez's art. Yeah, John Byrne's first cover is just 113 here. I remember reading this a couple of times when I was a kid, 117. See, Alpha Flight, first cameo appearance. Alpha Flight full appearance. This border is pretty off-centered, but the good thing about these types of borders is if there's spine ticks, they could be pressed out because they don't break any color. This one looks like, yeah, that is a Byrne cover. Okay. Okay, this is a Cockrum cover. (125). I have another set of these. I think it was 124 through 129 or 128 that I got signed by Claremont. That when I find out, I'll show them in another video. And when you sign them right on the cover. Here's first appearance of Kitty Pryde. I noticed that they've been using the word uncanny for a while, but I guess the name wasn't actually registered until like issue number 142. First appearance of the Dazzler. I also have a CGC 9.4 of this. I was trying to collect or get a little mini run of CGC 9.4 keys for the new X-Men titles. I wasn't able to get them for the more expensive ones, just these here. This one also has a special place in my childhood. Not this particular copy, but I bought a water damage stain one from my childhood friend Greg. And when we were in middle school, it was he sold me a bunch of comics for $1 each, and this was one of them. Or maybe it was his brother with X-Men. He sold me a bunch of Moon Knights. I think X-Men was his brothers. There was a Chris Claremont in an interview in the Wizard magazine on the anniversary. He said that pretty much he had free reign to write the X-Men titles, but when it came to the final judgment for Jean Grey Phoenix, he ran into a conflict with the editor because the way that they wanted to punish her felt a bit weak to the editor. This is, I think, was it New Mutants number 98? There's a homage to this cover. This also has a special place in my childhood. It was the first time I ever rented a table at a convention. I think it was $50. I was only able to bring 1 or 2 long boxes of comics, maybe even 1. And I was able to sell a high-grade copy of X-Men 139 for $9 and some other books, and that helped me make my money back for the table. But I didn't make any profit. I was never really any good at selling conventions. This one's got a pretty heavy spine roll and some defects there in the corner. This is the copy that was actually, I guess they actually registered the name Uncanny X-Men, starting with 142. Or trademarked it. This is the last Byrne issue here, I believe, and then Brent Anderson stepped in for 1 issue, and then Dave Cockrum returned for his 2nd stint. So in issue 137, she was supposed to have died. Dark Phoenix here. I think this one's another Wolverine solo story, so that might be a minor key. And this one is the last of Crocom's 2nd run with the X-Men. Okay, now we start the Paul Smith era of 12 issues. What I read was he was actually contracted for 12 issues, but his artwork is one of the few artists at the time where he used very minimal lines. Using minimal lines and having a aesthetically pleasing art style is, I would say, rather difficult, especially in comics. And this cover here kind of personifies. There's not a lot of lines, just enough lines to draw to tell a story. This also has a great place in my childhood. It was the first X-Men comic that I bought new. There was a comic shop at a flea market, and I believe he was winding down and planning to move from Houston to Seattle. And so he didn't buy any new comic books, and I believe maybe number 170 was the latest comic that was available. But since he didn't have this in, he didn't buy any more new comics, I believe 169 was still available. And so I bought a copy of that, and that was my first X-Men. And the reason I bought X-Men, because I didn't know anything about it. I saw two teenagers at the laundromat reading the X-Men comic books, and that was what caused my curiosity. This is when Rogue tried to join the X-Men. They didn't take very lightly to her. Simonson did the cover. I'm not sure. I can't remember if he did the interior. I did read it when I was a kid. This is the Wolverine pose with this actually influenced. I believe the editor wanted Arthur Adams to draw this pose for the Arthur Adams poster with the X-Men, or this influenced that position that Wolverine's in. This is the last Paul Smith work. He did double size 166 and 175. Then we start the John Romita Jr. era. I think Paul Smith went on to do Doctor Strange after this. And John Romita Jr. came from Amazing Spider-Man. And at some point in my young collecting career, I did start buying doubles of a lot of these comic books. I believe it was 176. The John Romita Jr. one is when I started buying 2 copies each of the X-Men. And his style doesn't, in a similar vein, his style a long time ago, you could see, in this particular one at least, the lines are limited. This is the only newsstand I've seen in a while. I've got multiple copies of this. I'm sure I have the direct edition somewhere. Originally, I was going to show you books number 1 through 365. But I think stopping at 185 is a good halfway point. The video might get too long. I'm going to end this video by showing you the first appearance of Gambit. He actually appears on several pages in the annual number 14, and he has 2 pages of small dialogue. Goodbye for now.